after we found out that he was terminal, and this was actually before I discovered clouds, I had a wrestling match with God. And that's the best way to describe it. It was a wrestling match because there was this thing in me that we'd always had with Zach's treatment. We always had the next drug to use, the next chemotherapy, and now we didn't. Mm-hmm. So that was all gone. And I decided early on in this battle to trust God. And now the rubber was meeting the road. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I didn't know what to pray for anymore, and I didn't necessarily want to pray for Zach to be healed. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds bizarre because I didn't want to be disappointed.
I completely get it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't want to set myself up to be angry.
Yeah.
If I put all my eggs in that basket, what am I going to be left with? So it was a wrestling match. I didn't know what to pray for. And that's when, and this is kind of the arc of the book, that's when I and I know this was a God thing too, that scene of Jesus in the garden right before he's going to be crucified, and that prayer and agony, knowing what he was going to have to go through, but not as a human wanting to have to endure that. Mm-hmm. And I realized that's it. That's the prayer. Mm-hmm. I can pour my heart out to my Heavenly Father. I can ask for the thing that I want so badly, which is for my son to be healed. But I also have to be open to his will and know that his will for Zach's life and for my life trumps anything that I can desire, and be open to the fact that even in that agony, even in that pain, we'll be okay because God will meet us there and he's got something bigger in store. Mm-hmm. And along with that same wrestling match, I was like, okay, what is my hope then? Because in our cancer world, we hear a lot about hope, which is we hope for more time, we hope for a cure. And when all that's taken away, and I had a visual in my mind, and again, I think it was just God putting this in my mind, so simple, but just a horizon with this point on the horizon that we'd been fighting to get to. And now all the roads were gone. Mm-hmm. And then it was like God just put his hand down and pulled that point up into the heavens. And it was like so clear then, because if our hope, if what we hope for is in heaven, then all the messy roads that we have to take down here can still lead there. Mm-hmm. And so those two things, that prayer of just petition, asking my motherly desire for my son to live, but also submission to God's will. Mm-hmm. And then really recognizing that what I hope for more than anything, even more than for Zach to be healed, is for him to be in heaven mm-hmm. with God. Mm-hmm. And being okay with that. And no matter how much time on earth he needed mm-hmm. to get there, if you leave at 18 years old or 87 years old, we still, the end goal is to be with God. So.
Did you pray that God would use his life
in
a certain way, and his song in a way? What was that prayer a little bit like?
So I ended up praying that prayer that Christ said in the garden. This is what I want, Lord. I want Zach to be healed, but not my will, yours be done. And then I amended it with, but if Zach must die, I want it to be for something big. And in my mind, what that meant was I want one soul. Mm. And I never have to meet this person. I just want one soul to be changed forever.
Wow.
And I left it at that. So.
And God answered in a lot bigger way, didn't he?
I joke about how I might have not amended that prayer. A lot has happened to us, and it's all beautiful. It's all great, but it is big.
Yeah, it is big. It is big. Wow. And I had no idea, as you know, until a couple of nights ago, that maybe that one soul was actually somebody in my own family. And I know there are many, many souls, but the very beginning of 2013, we started to notice a huge change in my son, Andrew. he was 14, he just walked away from Christ completely and decided, I don't believe there is a God, and I'm an atheist. And we watched our happy boy, are really fun to be with. I'm honestly probably a lot like Zach, extremely encouraging, empathetic. He feels what people feel when he's in a room, and he went from being just one of the most amazing people to be around to being honestly one of the most miserable people to be around. And I'll never forget in about May of 2013, just saying, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you want? What's going to make you happy? And he's like, to just tell you guys the truth, that I'm not a Christian, I'm an atheist, and I don't believe there is a God, and I want nothing to do with God and nothing to do with church. And he walked straight into the pit of darkness. There was a lot of details, and my husband and I had no idea what it was going to look like, and we struggled. But one night, I remember it was probably about a year ago, him coming in my room. I was all by myself, and him laying on my bed. And for the first time, I heard this concern and this fear in his heart. And he said, Mom, what if I die? What if I get cancer? And what if I'm wrong? What if there is a God? What I discovered a couple of days ago is that right around that same time, he had watched the story about Zach. He had seen Soul Pancake's video about Zach's story and Zach's life. And when Andrew found out that I was going to interview you, he's like, you're going to talk to Zach's mom? And I was like, do you even know who Zach is? And he's like, yeah. And I watched his video and his story, and found out about him when I was an atheist. And he made me want what he had. Like, he made me want hope. And instead of me telling you the rest, I wanted to invite Andrew to join us. And he's been listening, so he's gonna pull up a chair.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. I feel like you're like my second mom, kind of, you know, after reading your book.
That's so cool. I want to go on and how Zach's life impacted you.
There was definitely a happiness about him when I started watching that movie, and I just kind of watched it, and I saw this teenager who had such joy. He always had a smile. I felt like he was living for something better. He was always focused on something that I don't focus on every day, and that's just kind of take every moment. And just now that I'm starting to see he was living in love in a way, that was really changing for me. I'd never seen that before in a teenager, and it definitely changed my heart, and it caught my attention. It caught my heart, and it pulled me out of this logical sense, this logical mind, and just thinking about things analytically. And so I just kind of started thinking about, what if there's something more? Like, there's got to be a purpose to this, or else I could just die tomorrow, and there really isn't a big difference. Like, what's my purpose, really? And what happens after death? Like, all these different questions started to arise and come to the surface. And I began to realize that there's got to be a light, as the Bible talks about. There's got to be something better. There's got to be a hope. And I can't live my life like this really anymore, because there's darkness to it, really, when you kind of get consumed by that. So I'm so thankful for Zach and all that he really taught me, I guess, that video, and how much as he has inspired me. But I also feel like he's really become a friend of mine, kind of through the book and through the video. So I really appreciate your son, though.
That's such a great... Thank you so much for sharing that with me, because when your mom told me about it in the email that I received on Sunday night, I thought, you're my soul. You're the one that I was praying for. And so it's just, I mean, what an awesome, awesome thing to happen and to be part of on our end too. I mean, what an incredible thing to actually see you. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Do you have any questions?
I had a question.